dress on your wrist, a plain Jane.
The following video is broadcasting live, and thank you for being my studio audience. Thank you for hitting thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more black news, celebrity entertainment, and a splash of controversy. What up and welcome back. It's your girl Jane, the plainest Jane, and we got some syrup to get into. Y'all know things are always sticky in Hollywood and in real life, and y'all know I had to come on here. Y'all know I'm always very intrigued when it comes to things that MoNique is involved in. I always want to have her back, but we've got to be critical of the situations, right? And there's a lot to unpack with this situation. Y'all know MoNique grew up here in Baltimore, and she actually went to school with my mother, and they used to roam the hallways together. So, you know, I have some inside knowledge as to how MoNique rolls, but it's really no different than what a lot of us already know with regards to the court of public opinion, right? So come on in, hit thumbs up on the bus. I know it's late, okay? I know it's late. It's a holiday weekend. I definitely had some self-care that took up more time than usual, but that's okay because I'll be pushing myself so hard when it comes to this channel and doing my best to provide you all with quality content. I've had an amazing, relaxing weekend, and I hope you have too. And as we make our way into a new work week, I hope that you all have got your affirmations and your positive way of thinking to really affirm and manifest a positive and productive week for you. So listen, let's discuss. You see the thumbnail, you see the title, you see what's been going on. You see what's been going on this weekend. And listen, we have all been really intrigued by this situation, I think, because it is a nice distraction, right? From as tense as last week was on all of us, just as a country, for real. It don't matter if you white, black, blue, Republican, Democrat, Independent. Last week was really heavy and it was really thick. So this was something that, listen, people have been talking about for the last, I feel like it's been over 24 hours. This has been a trending topic. So thank you for coming in and showing love for the stream. Pay your fare. You know, it's free, okay, to ride my bus and support the show. And it's free to donate. Donate by hitting thumbs up. You can also send a cash app, send a super chat, send a super thanks. But all of it is appreciated just the same, okay? So listen, we just got MoNique back. We just got MoNique back. And here we go again with more stuff that really looks like it falls in line with the pattern within MoNique's career. We're going to get into a couple of things and unpack this entire situation. We're going to get into the contracts. We're going to get into the documentation. We're going to review the tangent, okay, that led to this whole atrocity of a situation. Of course, we're going to get into my thoughts and remarks, right? I just want to say, listen, I really care about MoNique. I care about the trajectory of her career. I care about her being successful as a black woman, an outspoken black woman, very opinionated. She stands her ground. I care about her, and I really want to be on her side. And we've got a lot of things to unpack. So come on in. Like I said, hit thumbs up. You're riding on my bus. Shout out to everybody in the live chat, and let's get ready for takeoff, shall we?
thePLAINESTjane. This is one of my favorite comments here. She says, I loves me some black, and she said, loves me some black news. She says, is it just me, or does anyone else get tired of seeing people that don't look like them delivering info about them day in and day out?
All right, and we are back. So listen, y'all know I tell y'all before we get started into any of the shows that we're talking about, again, happy holidays, right? It's Memorial Day holiday, even though it's a little after midnight. Checking on your mental health. You ain't got no business dibbling and dabbling into this very controversial situation unless you've tackled your own invisible problems in your mental health. Shout out to all of my new subscribers, my channel members, and especially my moderators, because y'all definitely be holding it down. But of course, before I get into breaking down today's topic of our event, make sure that you subscribe. At least consider subscribing over here and hit thumbs up or down. Either way, I appreciate it. But make sure you think critically and independently, regardless of what you hear from me or anybody else. Now, let's get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and throw this right here up on the screen while y'all are hitting the thumbs up button, right? This boils down to an issue fundamentally of a contractual misunderstanding. The two of these black entertainers, the two of these black comedians and actors, right? They were both fed conflicting contracts and information. And we can see that very clear here. If you're not already caught up to speed, right? Because what I'm doing, like I said, I'm going in the order. We're going to go over the contracts. Then we're going to go over the tangent, because a lot of you might have already caught the tangent, but I have it in full. So we're going to watch 8 minutes of the tangent. But first, we're going to get into the contracts, because that's more trending than the initial happening. When we take a look at this support and documentation, we are able to see that they were both told two totally different things. They really were. And we're going to get down into the contract / legal documents, or, legal binding agreements that the both of them presented. However, we can see MoNique was fed some information, right, that told her that she was going to be the very last person. She was going to be the closer as it pertains to this comedy situation, to this show. We can see that she's the last person here. Right. And there's a lot of politics involved when it comes to, comedians and going last. I see a lot of people like, oh, it's not that big of a deal to go last. It is that big of a deal to go last if you know about, the political aspect of being a comedian in a show that involves multiple comedians. Right. And so this is the reason why she's fed this information. She's really upset. DL Hughley was fed information, whereas he was going to be the last person who was going to be performing and giving his set. The question of the day, the question of the night is, who was wrong? Is MoNique blackballing herself at this point? Is she the problem? Is DL Hughley right in this situation? Or is MoNique right in this situation? We've got so much to get into. What we're going to do is we are going to start with DL Hughley, since he was the first person to bust out some paperwork, albeit may not be an actual contract. However, his agreement, right, while it was still a legally binding agreement, that was fulfilled. And MoNique's was not. So let's get into the documentation that he placed on social media first.
Hey, thanks for letting me keep you connected and in the know with what's happening in the Black world. Don't forget to smash on that like button for support and for more Black news.
So when we take a look at DL Hughley and the information that he placed online, he places his memo online, and we can see this is something that says status confirmed. Right now, mind you, it's a deal memo. MoNique, she challenged him to bust out his contract, right? Although she didn't bust out his first, she challenged him to bust out his, right? And you can see that this is something that was confirmed on March 29th. Stick a thumbtack in that date, because this is a very important piece of information. March 29th, the status was confirmed. Okay. And if you ain't already shared this video on social media, Twitter, Facebook, your group chat, text message, I don't know what you're waiting for, but you need to do that too. Okay. So DL Hughley, you can see Fox Theater. We've got the address, date of engagement, March 28th. Now, again, this was done way in advance, because it says March 29th that this deal memo was drafted up, right? Now, a lot of people's their main argument is, look, this is not the contract. Show me the contract. However, this is still a legal document. This is still a legally binding document. Whereas though if DL Hughley or the company didn't oblige by the terms that are set forth in this here agreement, there could be some problems. There could be some issues. And like, that's just what it is. I know some people just, that's not a contract. That's not a contract. It is still very much legally binding. In the eyes of the law, it is a contract. There's an offer, an acceptance, and consideration. The promoter honored the terms of DL Hughley's deal memo. Okay, as opposed to those outlined in MoNique's contract. I truly feel that these two Black people should really be upset at the promoter. I feel the promoter played the both of them, because MoNique is somewhat predictable when it comes to situations like this. MoNique has had issue after issue after issue, right? I always talk about the difference between an established pattern and an isolated incident. MoNique has always had issues with her contracts being fulfilled correctly or not. And I'm going to just leave it there, and let's just go ahead and continue, right? We can see very clearly here. It says who is headlining, right? It says artist is to be the highest paid artist on the show. Artists to have approval of lineup and running order of the show. This is something that proves that he is the headliner of the show. Not to mention, right, lineup, DL Hughley closing. You see that? DL Hughley closing. Mind you, we come up here and it says 100% headline. So with MoNique being upset that DL Hughley didn't allow her to close, both of y'all were trying to go based off of your legal binding agreements and what they said. The promoter told the both of you that you were closing. So the talent should really be upset at the common denominator between the two pieces of talent in this specific instance. The both of you have on this documentation, like I said, let's bring it right back. We bring it right back to this piece of information. We make it a little bit bigger so y'all can see it. Y'all were clearly given schedules from the same company, which is New Day. New Day gave y'all both, gave conflicting information to the two of you. Y'all turned around and told DL Hughley that he was closing, but you turned around and told MoNique that she was closing as well. So who should you really be upset at? Because both of y'all are trying to just get what the two of you were promised and what was written in both of you all's legal binding agreements. So I feel that this was pretty strategic. Imagine what this promoter is sitting back doing. I feel like this promoter is potentially sitting back laughing their ass off because these two people are arguing based off of something that not only falls on the promoter, but let's keep it a buck. Y'all had to know I was going to bring this up, right? Sydney. Sydney is daddy. Sydney is MoNique's manager. This is something that should have been caught and been worked through and sought through MoNique's management, okay? DL Hughley's management did their job. His documents say that he's closing. It was advertised as such, and that's what ended up happening. MoNique, on the other hand, when you look at the way that this thing was promoted, let's look at how it was promoted. There's so many different pieces of documentation. It was promoted where so he's the headliner. And I'm so sorry for MoNique and Daddy and Sydney and so on and so forth. This should have been something that he caught a little bit earlier. If he noticed that, hey, my talent, AKA my wife, right, is supposed to be headlining this show, why is this being advertised that way? Why did MoNique's team not catch this? This is, again, advertised. This is promoted, DL Hughley and MoNique. If you are headlining a show, right, all of the promotion puts him before you. How come your team didn't catch that? I think that MoNique has a severe issue, right? Her team, because the talent, it's not the talent's job to sort through all this stuff. It's their job to have a fundamental understanding of it. However, it is her management team's job to make sure all of her contracts are fulfilled and obligated in the way that it was presented to them. And I'm starting to think that because MoNique has contract issue after contract issue after contract issue, there's a level of incompetence within her team, not MoNique, her team. But if they're explaining it to her in a way where they misunderstood and they passed down that misunderstanding to her, she's out here wilding out. Meanwhile, Daddy, aka her manager, who is also her husband, things can get a little mixed when you're trying to have your close family and your friends do your business for you. Things can get a little, they get a little sticky. I tell y'all, things are always sticky in Hollywood and in real life. Always, always, always. And things seem to be a little sticky, and I'd like to come down harder. I am going to come down harder on Sydney, on her manager, on her husband, aka her daddy, harder than I'm going to come down on him. Because the issue stays being a contract that is not fulfilled correctly. And then she comes to the public and hashes it out. And the issue, the common denominator is Sydney really able to negotiate, work, and follow through with your contracts appropriately or not? He seems to be a little incompetent. MoNique's team, which seems to be a team of one, seems to be a little incompetent to me. And that's not fair to the talent. That's not fair to MoNique. I feel like Sydney has MoNique out here looking crazier more times than not. And is it because he misunderstands and passed that misunderstanding down on to her? That's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. Y'all keep it sticky real. Let me know how you feel about it down below in the comments. But listen, that's what I'm gathering for the situation. This is the common denominator. Do I think that MoNique is difficult to work with? No. I wouldn't say that she's difficult to work with. However, I can understand how she can be seen as a slight liability as it pertains to not understanding her contract fully. I can see that. I'm not saying it's true, but when you're doing business, it's not your job to go through the emotional ropes and understand why people are making decisions that aren't the best for them. It is your responsibility as a business person to watch out for your bottom line and to see what pattern is established. And let's just take a look into DL Hughley's caption when he posted his documentation. Let's take a look. Let's go ahead and read. If you ain't hit thumbs up already, make sure you pay your fare. You ride my bus, pay your fare. God dang it. He says, after this, I don't want to hear no more about this. Here it is in black and white. The only thing blacked out is personal and bank information. Pay attention to the headliner. Pay attention to the highest paid artist on the show. Artists have to have approval of the lineup. Okay, the lineup of the show. DL Hughley is closing. Receipts are greater than opinions. I got everything that was stated in my contract. Everything. But let's say I didn't. My beef wouldn't be with anyone but the promoter or my team, and I damn sure wouldn't take it personal. If you have a problem, take it up with management. And by that, I mean yours. That was the first piece of information, right? That he placed on his Instagram, right? Not to mention his first clap back at her, right? When he said basically, all you have to do is check the order names on the ticket stubs and you'll see who's confused against my better judgment over the objections of my team. And 4 other occasions where I said no, I decided to take a chance and work with MoNique. Oprah was the problem. Tyler Perry was the problem. Charlamagne was the problem. Steve Harvey was the problem. Lee Daniels was the problem. Netflix was the problem. Now it's my turn. At some point, it can't be everyone else. It's you. Lesson learned. I didn't have anything against MoNique. People paid a lot of money to laugh, not to hear about your contract. Apparently, this is the part that got me. Apparently, the role you played in Precious turned out to be an autobiography. I wonder who's next. Baby, I said, ouch. Not the role she played in Precious turned out to be an autobiography. If anybody who's anybody has seen Precious, you know that this was a character that was horrendous. This was a horrendous character. And for him to say, listen, you played yourself in that movie. You weren't even acting. That is exactly who you are. I said,
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
I said, that is something else. But I mean, hey, what do we expect, right? She called him out on stage in a way that was, listen, you can call it art if you want to, but you came at, MoNique came at his wife. MoNique came at his kids. MoNique came at his sexuality and exuded a little bit of, well, you're an undercover brother. You take it in there. She came at a lot of stuff. He had every right to respond, right? And they're both comedians. So, you know, with comedians going at one another, she hit below the belt first. So he's going to come back and address her in a way, right? There's so much to unpack here, baby. There is so much to unpack here. The movie Precious was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy, right? Okay, so let's get into what MoNique posted, right? Let's get into what MoNique posted. Lord have mercy, I'm on the wrong page. Okay, so MoNique posts her actual contract. Meanwhile, now mind you, DL Hughley posted his deal memo. However, a deal memo is still a legally binding document in the eyes of the law. It's an offer, acceptance, and consideration. It is still thereby considered a contract, right? But let's get into what MoNique has to say, baby. Let's just skim over a couple of things within the paperwork. It says Hicks Media Incorporated. If you don't know, MoNique's real name is MoNique Hicks, okay? Her stage name is obviously MoNique. Now, like I told you, the date is important to pay attention to here. The agreement made on the 28th day of March 2022 between Hicks Media Incorporated and MoNique and New Day Entertainment. Now remember, New Day Entertainment, when I show you that side-by-side image of the conflicting schedules that they were both given, that is the name of that company, right? Fox Theater, and you can see that it does say headliner on here. It says, talent shall be the headliner of the show and the closing talent of the show, of which talent shall not perform later than 1 hour performance time after the start of the show, right? So she's showing her contract, she's showing initials and things of that nature. Now let's get into her caption, because baby, she said a mouthful as well. See, listen, the thing about it, why I feel like these two were set up and the promoters are sitting back laughing and joking, is because these are two people that are pretty predictable when it comes to issues, especially issues that are being played out in the public eye. You don't take a DL Hughley or a MoNique as people who are going to back down from any squabble that they get into publicly. They're not going to back down, period, point blank. And they're going to keep roasting, and they're going to keep going up against whatever the force or the odd or the person may be. And that's what makes these people so predictable and potentially easy to set up to go against one another instead of the party who was really responsible for this breach of contract, because that's what this is. This was a breach of MoNique's contract. Now, I understand that there's some information about DL Hughley talking about MoNique behind the scenes, talking about, oh, she's not Dave Chappelle, I'm not opening for her, and so on and so forth. I understand that. However, if your bottom line is to get your contract fulfilled, there might be some trash talk. I'm not, excusing it, whatever. It's neither here nor there. However, the both of them were just trying to get what they were promised. She was promised to be the closer and the headliner, and so was DL Hughley. And they both have legal documentation that is supposedly supposed to guarantee them that. But let's get into MoNique's caption and what she had to say, because baby, you know how passive aggressive she is. My sweet baby. She will read you up and down and then say, my sweet baby, and I love us for real. Here she goes, at DL Hughley. There were some of you who were fooled by the smoke and mirrors of DL posting his deal memo versus his performance agreement. Here is my performance agreement. And here are emails and texts confirming that, as per usual, I'm going to always keep it real and honest with my people. If you notice, mine has signatures and DL's does not. What type of ironclad agreement doesn't have the signatures of the participants involved? Apparently DL's. LOL. Now, you told me to check with my management, and this is what I came up with. So how did I do? Perhaps you should have taken your own advice, because I'm sure your team would have advised you against trying to pass a deal memo off as a contract. To those out there who thought a deal memo was the same as a performance agreement, especially some of the comedians, this is how we're constantly taken advantage of by the business. And just so you know, the promoter already told my team before the show that you didn't have a signed agreement. That's why I'm not surprised you're using a deal memo. That said, maybe they lied to you. Maybe they lied and you actually have a contract. If so, the promoters have put themselves in a terrible position to have more legal action taken against them, beyond malicious concealment for breaking the contract at the last second. That said, DL, we the people will be waiting for your signed agreement. My contract is signed. Here is also an email with PDF of the run of the show. I've given you the run of the show, additional email with ROS, and what I walked into minutes after arriving to the theater. Can you say receipts? LOL. To my people who refuse to fall for the okie doke, and even those that do, I love y'all to life. She loves us to life. She loves us to life. Listen, I got some thoughts. I've got some thoughts about this, because listen, the thing about it is, listen, if we're going to be objective, like I said, I want to be Team Mo, because of course I'm going to ride with the black
outspoken, 10 toes down woman. However, she's making fun of him because she feels like his deal memo that was posted is baloney and it doesn't matter. But his deal memo got the job done. Yours didn't. They obliged. They agreed to that. They didn't agree to yours. So what y'all are clowning each other about is it's just like a trade-off. You can make fun of it all you want to, but it ultimately worked. That's like somebody making fun of your hoopty and it makes it to work. Meanwhile, their almost new car broke down in the middle. So you can make fun of the way my vehicle worked, but my vehicle got the job done. You're the one sitting here upset at your contract. Maybe you should be upset at Sydney. Maybe you should be upset at the promoters. And the one line in this caption that says, well, the promoters are opening themselves up for even more legal action to be taken against them lets me know what? You can't take legal action against DL Hughley, but you can take legal action against the promoters because the promoters are the one that did you wrong. So why is it that the promoters only get one sentence in a very diplomatic fashion, actually, that states, hey, you're opening yourself up for more, opposing legal action. I'm going to be the plaintiff. You're going to be the defendant when we go to court. You're at fault for this, right? One simple diplomatic sentence towards them, as opposed to all of the public smoke that you gave DL Hughley. Because again, when you fundamentally take all this down and you boil all this mess down, y'all were both given conflicting contracts or legal binding agreements. It's always a contractual issue. And it can't be that everybody around you in the business doesn't know how to work contracts. At some point, it's got to be the common denominator in who's working your contracts. MoNique, you're not working your contracts. So I'm not necessarily blaming you when it comes to the root of all this. You are really, you're just a piece in all this madness and you're being fed whatever Sydney gives you. This is a promoter and a management issue because, again, how come you were under the impression that you were headlining this thing and Sydney saw all the promotion coming out for it and you weren't listed as the headliner? It almost looked like y'all were co-headlining together and he never got any of that straight. I mean, we can sit and we can go through your emails and I don't mind. But my thing is fundamentally from a business aspect, if there's any time that you don't understand your contract correctly, are you then going to go on stage and air people out and come at their wives, their children, and what you assume to be their sexuality? Listen, let me just call a thing a thing. MoNique is calling DL Hughley down low, insinuating that he gets down with men too, while he has a wife, which could mean what? He's bisexual. I guess that was supposed to be shaming, right? That was some like homophobia or whatever. MoNique is bisexual too. I don't understand how two people under the flag are blaming one another about, getting down with the same sex. And I'm not saying that DL does. But I'm saying that was some pretty below the belt shit, considering how it seems that you don't have a complete grip or understanding of your contract because your husband don't either. Your manager don't either. And so this makes you a liability from the outside looking in from a business standpoint, because anytime you don't understand your contract, this is what you're going to do. Listen, when you're talking about money and what you're worth, there's some ego there too. And conversations about money and what you should be paid and what you feel you're owed, that shit gets tense behind the scenes. And it shouldn't always seep over into the art or the performance or whatever the exchange of the good product or service is. And in this instance, it is a service. You are supposed to be providing laughter and an escape. And then you got to think about, people always got to pay to hear you vent about your contracts. Is that all you have to offer? And I'm not saying that there's not a place and a time where you should be talking about how you're effed over in the industry as a Black woman. However, this is outshining your talent. Anytime MoNique has went viral in the last 5 years, what it's been about? Don't worry, I'll wait. Don't worry, I'll wait. This outshines her talent. It's always this. It's the tact. Viola Davis talks about some of the same things the pay gaps, the sexism, the misogyny within the entertainment industry. It's no secret that that stuff exists. However, there's a certain level of tact that goes along with it. And so, you know, standing 10 toes down in raunchy airing out of things like this, there's a way to air people out without being as raunchy and coming at their family, kids, and assuming that they deal with men. There's a difference. And if MoNique, maybe sometimes your delivery can diminish your message. I'm just concerned. I'm like, okay, MoNique can handle it. She's a strong Black woman. She can handle it for sure. Right? Because she's not going to let up off of it. However, she'll also get out here and say, I'm being blackballed. I'm not being offered roles. And you don't make it easy for businesses to want to work with you, because anytime you, or Sydney rather, listen, how many careers can we say that Sydney is responsible for handling in a successful manner? Like, how many people who really skyrocketed to the top and have really great reputable careers can we see and say that Sydney has had a hand in managing? Because all we see and all we know is your career. And we can't say overall, and especially because we feel for you when we fuck with you, we can't say, yeah, your career is stellar. The trajectory has always been on the up and up. We can't. So at some point, it might be time to fire your manager and just let that man be your husband and your number one supporter. Hell, even let him be your personal assistant. But it seems as though he's got your career in the pits, and you can't see it because you're blinded by love and dick and whatever threesomes y'all be having that you tell us about on MoNique and Sydney's open relationship. Hey, listen, she's not going to back up off this, but neither is DL Hughley. The question is, can she? 50 Cent cannot single-handedly save your career. I get it. And here's the thing. You also got to remember, in the midst of her getting into this deal with DL Hughley, she brings up all the old stuff again. She brings up Oprah and Tyler Perry and everyone else. And it's like, girl, have you healed? Do you get up every day and think about them or not? Or I don't know. I don't know. It's always a contract issue. And every contract issue, we learn a lot of difficult lessons behind the scenes as artists. When you provide a service to people, you learn a lot of difficult stuff behind the scenes. And every difficult lesson you learn behind the scenes, it should not be reflected when you are on the clock providing that service as an artist. Whether you're a painter, a musician, a model, a comedian, a content creator, every difficult lesson you learn, whether it pertains to money or the order of business, it does not deserve to be on display, because at some point that is going to outshine the talent that you will swear up and down you have. Is MoNique funnier than DL Hughley? Yes, she is. But is she as comedically relevant as DL Hughley? No, she's not. She's not. She just got back in the game. We just got her back. She's just coming up off of being blackballed. And you might not agree with DL Hughley. You might feel as though he's done some coonish and some tap dance-ish things in the past. I can attest to that. I can agree with that. However, this is a man who was always relevant and talking on social media, and he's a radio personality. He has his own radio show, and he's speaking up about every social and political issue there is. He's doing the work to create more relevance for himself than MoNique is. MoNique feels like because she won that prestigious award off the back of Precious, she doesn't have to create relevancy. She doesn't have to do any grassroots work on social media. Whereas though everybody else in 2022, they get it. You've got to do stuff in between. And I get it. MoNique be exercising this stuff online, but that's not enough to create the relevancy. Again, yes, she's funnier than DL Hughley. However, she's just getting back into the game. Whereas though he never left. So when it comes to the politics of, and mind you, she also says, oh, nigga, you open for the kings of comedy. I close for the queens of comedy. How long ago was that? How long ago was that? And I'm not saying it doesn't count. However, those ancient achievements, it's not going to correlate and all of a sudden make you suddenly deserve to close. At the end of the day, these contracts matter more than the stats you bringing up. And cool, bring them up for the sake of social media talk. But it seems that MoNique and her team doesn't have a grasp on how to create relevancy and then conflict resolution. There are always going to be issues and for you to get your money right. A lot of times, hell, us as everyday people, I don't know if you ever had to go back to your boss and say, hey, boss, I'm missing 2 hours off my check. I need my money, or whatever the case is. But that don't mean you just go up and you wild out in front of everybody on the clock instead of going behind the scenes and getting your money right and continuing to work. So there seems to be an issue, and I feel like maybe MoNique was triggered. I feel like this issue with DL Hughley, it triggered her into thinking about Oprah and Tyler Perry and Steve Harvey and everybody else. But at what point, I felt like MoNique was doing so well. I watched her interview with T.S. Madison. I felt like she was doing so well. So goddamn well. It seems she has some great media training, but she went off. She went off. And I want to stand beside her. I want to ride for it. You know, my thing is, MoNique, what is this going to cost you? See, because people can be cheerleading for you to do fuck shit all day long. You are the one that has to pay the piper. And all the people cheering on for MoNique to continue to do this stuff, those aren't the people that are going to book her for the events that she needs in order to stay relevant. Those aren't the people who have the power to override the blackballing or to help override the apprehension from other people who may want to work with her in the future, but may say, okay, well, her husband seems to be incompetent. We all feel that way. And if these businesses feel like her husband seems to be incompetent and he's not good at working the contract deal, well, the talent might go off because she doesn't understand, that her manager doesn't understand how this shit really works. It does seem to be a little bit of self-sabotage. She had to make a ripple. And unfortunately, she makes a ripple off of this more than her stand-up. Listen, I went to go see MoNique. Late last year. She was funny as hell. And y'all know she grew up right here in Baltimore. So she's in the room with Baltimore. So she knows, like, she's there. She's really good. But shit like this gets in the way. I'm not saying don't ever speak on it. Maybe speak on it later on this year when you're more calm in a more diplomatic way. Maybe put it in a tell-all book or whatever the case is. Eyebrow itching. But this delivery, I just feel like it might cost her. That's how I feel. What I want to do right now, we've gotten into both of their contracts. I went to go see her in DC a few years ago for my birthday. It was an empty house. I sat in the front and heckled her the whole time. It was hilarious. Oh my God, Rashida. Oh my God. Yeah, I do feel like they were played against one another. But she gave it to DL instead. And I've got more points to make. However, I'm going to give those points after we get into, right? We're going to get into exactly what she said on stage to him. It was very long. Again, she dragged his wife and kids. And I just felt like, what did his kids do to deserve to be put in this? I didn't feel like that was the best. And I'm not even a part of the community, but hey, listen, certain jokes, some jokes don't go out of style. Gay jokes back in the day, undercover brother jokes back in the day, they flew with no issue. We live in a PC culture where you've got to be politically correct all the time. And some people feel like, listen, comedy needs to have guardrails where you don't, hey, she's still living in that. She has a dated sense of doing things, which sometimes can be good and sometimes can be bad, which is why she doesn't understand, number one, the relevance of social media and how that can be helping to catapult her further into relevancy. But also, you know, she comes from the day and age of admiring a Red Fox and a Richard Pryor in a comedy sense. And some people miss that kind of stuff. Other people are going to take offense to those types of jokes. So let's listen to everything that she has to say. Maybe her husband encouraged a constant adversarial mindset. You know, maybe, but how beneficial is that going to be for her in the long run, Akata? You know, that's what I think. I think that it's very easy to trigger MoNique at this point, especially if you put her up against a DL Hughley. Why? DL Hughley has done some tap dance-ish things in the past. It was no different than when the slap happened, right? You got Will Smith versus Chris Rock. Chris Rock has done a lot of tap dances shit in the past, which made it easy for a lot of people to say F it, whatever. Later on, when the stuff dried, people were like, listen, Will, you ain't had to do that. But at first, people were relying on Chris Rock's past character to swing the vote, right? And I feel like that's what was given to MoNique essentially here. It's like, listen, DL Hughley is already somebody who cheated on his wife a million times, had a side baby. Daughter was a victim of sexual assault. She told her father, who was DL Hughley, he did not believe her. Why? Because he liked the guy that she was saying, listen, he did this to me. I didn't consent to this. And he didn't, you know what I mean? So in addition to some other things that he said that can very well be interpreted as anti-Black. So if we're depending on DL Hughley's past character to swing the vote, when you hear from a distance, MoNique slammed DL Hughley, it's like, oh, hell yeah, he's a coon anyway. Go ahead. But that's us relying on his past character in order to swing the vote. And if that's the case, we could also use some of MoNique's old character to swing the vote too. And some of MoNique's old character, or more, her methods and how she went about her conflicts, that shit don't make her look the best either. So I don't think that it's fair to use either one of their past characters to swing this vote as it pertains to this situation, because they both have shit in their past where it's like, And so that's why I'm like, listen, let me be objective to this situation. Look, Baltimore to Baltimore. Baltimore to Baltimore. Baltimore to Baltimore. I got to say, like, I don't doubt that MoNique can handle this, and she's not going to let up. However, I feel like at some point when we start to hear they're blackballing me, there's a difference between cussing people out and standing 10 toes down and not complaining about the effects of it and being ostracized, and doing some outlandish shit and being like, hey, Hollywood don't want to fuck with me no more. And it's like, well, maybe it's because you can be hot-headed sometimes, and maybe you need to cool off before you address things. Just sometimes. It's not that what you're saying or the issue doesn't exist. It's that maybe you should take some time to think about it. Have you ever been in a situation where you responded right away in the heat of the moment and it wasn't the best, but it was still a very valid reason why you were ticked off, but you should have handled it more tactfully? That is some of the stuff that I see. It's not that I missed it. It's that I haven't got there yet. Let me read this comment. It says, the only thing you missed is the gay dig that DL did on his show about MoNique's husband. She was just throwing it back at him. Sydney, help her find a manager. It's not about you. It's about Sydney. I haven't got to that yet. I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself because I have a lot of thoughts about this. And I do think that that's important. However, I can also use that to say, MoNique, why did you accept this gig if you had 3 strikes to give DL Hughley and you were already on 2? Because that's where we are with it. This seemed to be the last straw, which was it really a straw towards him or the promoters? It seems that she was already fed up with what had happened between him and her in the past. And she accepted this job around somebody where she knew she was moments away. Only one straw was left to break the camel's back. And she didn't give herself enough room to handle this situation in a better way. So a lot of times when you're angry and when you explode at someone, because you might be a ticking time bomb or there might be other things at play, that explosion is not the best representation of your character. She put herself in a pressure cooker, in my opinion. And the other question is, okay, both of y'all was told y'all was going to headline. Nobody's complaining about money. Y'all are only complaining about headlining. So were you still giving the headliner money, a bag that you felt was satisfactory to you? That's the other question here too. There's a lot. There's a lot to unpack. Okay? So look, they both have a track record. Let's go ahead and get into all of the things that MoNique said on stage, long form, right? More than just the, 2-minute clips that we've seen online. Let's get into something that's a little bit more long form and then come back and discuss how we feel about it, okay? If you ain't already hit thumbs up, don't make me beat your ass, okay? Hit the damn thumbs up button. Share it on Twitter, Facebook, group chat, text message if you can. And let's continue to unpack this situation, okay? It is a beautiful, day. Thank you all for being here with me.
It's time for that Hollywood bullshit. If you cross the motherfucking line, Oprah. If you cross the motherfucking line, Tyler, I'm gonna see you cool, motherfucker. On the cool train, nigga. Kind of real nigga without a attack, a goddamn black woman, a bitch nigga. I feel sorry for DL Hughley's family. I feel sorry for his motherfucking wife. That's how you come to bit of a power. You gotta be strong. You talk about young love and cause they names, your name is DL. What the fuck does it stand for? How far you been to know the nigga on the DL? What kind of shit are you putting over air to your motherfucking listeners? That's cool shit. So be careful who's feeding your motherfucking soul, cause you might swallow coon pie and you can't get the coon off of you, and then they give you goddamn diarrhea. I don't fuck with nobody, I don't fuck with me. He said, bitch, I gave you everything you need to deal with these motherfucking coons. See, MoNique DL Hughley. I gave you everything you need to deal with these motherfucking coons. I don't fuck with nobody. I'm gonna tell y'all what the fuck is going on, because y'all know one thing about me, bitch, I'm gonna tell.
Rolex on your wrist, a plain Jane.
See, I fucks with contracts. That's why niggas got a problem with me. If you sign the motherfucking contract, that's what the fuck it is. But they're so used to niggas fucking around with the contract and being nervous because they might lose an opportunity or a motherfucking chance, so they will redo the contract. I'm not a bitch who's gonna redo the contract. If you signed a motherfucker, that's what the motherfucker is. So tonight, see, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna break it down for you, Detroit, because I would feel less than a motherfucking woman if I didn't let y'all know what the fuck was going on this stage right now. So if my energy is a little different, nigga, because they got me fucked up. They got me fucked up. They got me fucked up. So the contract, oh, nigga. The motherfucking contract said that a bitch is the headliner. The headliner. Let me say it again, the headliner. That's what the motherfucking contract says. MoNique is to be the last motherfucking person on the goddamn stage. She is the headliner. That's what I signed the fuck up for. I'm 30 plus years in this motherfucking business and I don't open for no goddamn body. The contract said the headliner. The contract said the headliner. The contract said the headliner. But a nigga named DL Hughley turned into a bitch and said I won't perform if she does that. I won't go out if she does that. Nigga, you open for the kings of comedy. I close for the queens of comedy, nigga. And you think that I don't have a dick, that ain't my position, nigga. So when I leave this motherfucker, the headliner has left. I don't fuck with nobody, sure. I don't fuck with no motherfucking body. But when you cross the line with me, nigga, you have crossed the motherfucking line. And that bitch, nigga, has crossed the motherfucking line. See, we got a history, nigga. We got a history. That nigga went on a tour talking about all MoNique wasn't. You can Google it right now. DL Hughley on MoNique, all I wasn't, what I wasn't worth, all of this bullshit. And nigga, you put your feet under my motherfucking table. So you came to my home, nigga, and you put your feet under my motherfucking table. I don't get down like that, goddammit. You got a bitch wrong. You talk about Young Thug, and because of their names, nigga, your name is DL. What the fuck does it stand for? Hey, how far you bending over, nigga, on the DL? You fuck with the wrong one? That's my family, nigga. I'm home, nigga. Motherfucking home, yo. I go all the way back with Coco in the motherfucking motherfucking lounge in the back of the bar when they was cooking motherfucking fried fish, bitch. That's me, nigga. That's me, Detroit. I'm the bitch who did fuck a nigga in the car, but bitch, that happened so long ago. See, black women, let me tell you something. A lot of black men in Hollywood got a problem with me. Because I got a motherfucking black king. That's my husband. And them niggas can't understand it. They can't fathom it. It makes them motherfucking sick. Because at what time did black men start attacking black women? What kind of real nigga is that? That's a bitch nigga. That's a bitch nigga. What kind of real nigga would ever attack a goddamn black woman? A bitch nigga. I feel sorry for DL Hughley's family. I feel sorry for his motherfucking wife. Because how do you suck the dick of a coward? I tried to play fair, bitch. I tried to play fair, nigga. I tried to play fair. We was on the countdown, nigga. 10, 9, 8, 7, check. See? I don't fuck with nobody. And as an entertainer, families are off limits. As entertainers, we don't fuck with each other's families. Because for me, that is crossing the line. See, I want to give you all the history so you understand a bitch's position. I want to give you the history, mama, so you understand. See, when I look at my wives and sisters, and she look at me like this, get that, nigga. Thank you, mama. See, I did this radio show one time, right? Because I'm thinking, this is my boy. This nigga ain't never had no motherfucking problem, y'all. Right? This my motherfucking dude. So we on a radio show, and when we get to the end of the motherfucking program, bitch, did you hit program? Bitch went to England program. When we get to the end of the program, they say, MoNique, would you like to play a game? Well, bitch, I like to play games. So I said, sure, let's play a game. And it's a game called Would You Rather. Would you rather? I said, fuck it, let's go. And then the sister Jasmine says, would you rather your husband fuck Lee Daniels without a condom or Corinne Steffens with one? I want y'all to hear the bitch shit this nigga done tried to put me through, y'all. Would you rather your husband fuck, like, nigga, what kind of shit are you putting over the air to your motherfucking listeners? That's coon shit. So be careful who's feeding your motherfucking soul, because you might swallow coon pie and you can't get the coon off of you, and it'll give you goddamn diarrhea. I don't fuck with nobody, but don't fuck with me. Now let's start the motherfucking show. I feel better. See, nigga, sometimes you got to say your shit. Sometimes you got. So I said, sure. This nigga ain't never had.
What? Well, let me come back on the screen. I say, damn. Should we go to the bush again? No, we did. It's been 53 minutes. We've been to the bush one time. Listen, I said this was deep, and I think Mo already has some deep-rooted issues with her. With DL Hughley, as she explained, the stand-up comedy, she felt like there was some stuff he included in his set a while ago that she just didn't like. And, she's a public figure. What's off limits when you're a comedian, right? And then we get into the disrespectful, because I do agree that was a disrespectful question. And while DL didn't ask that question, Jasmine asked that question. It was still a part of his show and his invite, right? Would you rather your husband fuck Lee Daniels without a condom or fuck Corinne Steffens' superhead with one? Like, that's a wild question. However, were you holding on to that to say, if he ever mess up one more time, I'm going to let him have it? If so, you didn't give yourself enough room to handle this situation with tact. you knew you were a ticking time bomb, and all he had to do was look at you wrong, essentially, for you to go off on him. I feel like MoNique didn't put herself in a better position. Listen, MoNique is going to handle situations the way she's want to. I just worry about the outcome. I know that fundamentally MoNique has good intentions. It's the matter of how she goes about involving the court of public opinion, the program, how she goes about gathering the court of public opinion that can be kind of problematic. Every time you have an issue behind the scenes, it's got to be spilled out on stage in a messy way, because there's a difference between sitting down and doing a strategic, candid interview with someone and saying, listen, I was done wrong. You remember when TLC was done wrong and they sat down and they did interviews? You remember Pusha T was done wrong about McDonald's and he sat down calmly and there's a way you can sit down later on and be like, listen, I was done wrong, as opposed to carrying it out and saying, well, this is art and I'm a comedian, so I'm a drag him. And listen, does it make for good raunchy comedy, a good show? Is it going to get you to trend? Oh, absolutely. But it's always going to be this type of behavior and you going up against somebody that's going to be far more, it's going to cause a larger ripple and last longer than the talk about your actual talent is. And that's where she has to even the keel. She has to even the keel. You have to get a team, at the very least, if you want to continue to go about handling your situations that way, because I get it. As Black women, we're tired of being fucked over. We're tired of it. We're fucking tired of it. But even the kill, so that this isn't the only thing that pops out about you. Get you a team of people who can make you trend for other reasons. There's no reason Mo can't go live once a week on Instagram Live or YouTube or Facebook Live or whatever and talk about a trending topic or a legitimate issue between. I feel like MoNique is really good at having conversations about bridging the gap. Do I always agree with her? No. When she had the conversation about the bonnets or whatever, I felt like she was wrong the way she went about it, but I felt like she had a good point about how the younger generation, millennials and Gen Z, sometimes, and I'm not saying I agree with her bonnet stance, but sometimes there is a large issue with the younger population leaving out the house looking a fucking mess and looking unpresentable and got their pants hanging off. You can see these niggas' ass cheeks and they boxes and they pants be down to their ankles. There's a problem. And MoNique does a really good job of trying to bridge that gap of being a person that comes from a totally different time. And there is a large disconnect between the older and the younger generation. There's no reason why she can't go live once a week and talk about relevant issues, right? She doesn't have to talk about other celebrities per se, because I understand how that can maybe alienate you. You don't want to offend other celebrities when you need to be in that ecosystem with different celebrities, right? You need to leave your options open. So I can understand why she didn't talk about the slap. She didn't say too much about it, actually. But they've got to be doing other things to create relevancy for her to even the kill. Outside of that, it's MoNique, and it's always going to be Spike Lee, Oprah, Lee Daniels, or another Black person that she's going up against. And that's it. That's all she's known for. And that's not good. May they be good causes? Yeah, but that's not good. It is outshining her talent. What's the last funny joke she told us? She's such this, she bangs on her chest like, I've been in this game 30 years, nigga. You open for kings, I close for queens. But also, she's not reminding us that she's funny. She's not reminding us that she's funny. And I feel like that's a big issue for her. You think about any comedian that's relevant in 2022, right now, and you go to their social media pages, I guarantee you're going to see them reminding us, the public, people, that they're funny in between gigs, because that's what keeps you relevant. When people who are looking for talent, different producers, movie writers and script writers and things like that, they need to be reminded in between roles that you're funny so that you can stay relevant. MoNique feels like, no, I've won an award. These people need to understand that I'm talented, and that's it. But there's no other comedian. Social media is a free tool. It's free, for God's sakes. Create the damn relevancy. If you're really that good at being funny, you can easily take a trip down to the chicken box joint or wherever and create a 30-second funny video. And I'm not talking about making a skit and putting on a different wig and playing 8 different characters. And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about straight up classic comedy. But MoNique doesn't do that grassroots work. And I see that she's always busy. I see that she's always on the hamster wheel, right? As it pertains to being busy as a person. But I feel like her husband, Sydney, got her on a hamster wheel that's just not working for her. It's not working. They say daddy gotta go. I think that daddy's gotta go. You know, you coming at people's sexuality like it's wrong for him to deal with men, but you deal with women. And MoNique even spoke about the shame of her coming out to her family when she came out and expressed that she liked women sometimes. You know, so some of the things, it seems like you misunderstood your contract, so you went after his wife, his kids, and now you're assuming that he is a DL, you know what I mean? Like an in the closet homosexual. When both of y'all were promised the same thing based off of y'all legally binding agreements. You know, I'm not saying Mo should have handled it differently. I'm worried about the effects of her handling it this way, and then her being upset by not having as much work offered to her moving forward, because that's been something that she's spoken about before. She should definitely have other people on her team. She should. So look, if you want to call in, let me know. Here's the link right here. If you click the link, cool. If not, I'm going to just wrap up and get into some of my final thoughts. Okay. This is a crazy situation. Like I said, I think that like as a people, like we went crazy off of being interested. I remember I'm watching DL Hughley post this stuff. I'm like, we got action. I'm seeing MoNique post her stuff. I'm like, we got action. This was really interesting to see. And it was a nice escape. Divisive, maybe. But again, why is none of this energy being directed at the promoters? Why is all this smoke being directed towards someone who was promised the same exact thing as you? You might not respect his contract. He might not respect yours. But both of y'all was promised the same thing, and he's the one that got results and you didn't. So, I mean, you know, making fun of his, deal memo when it's still very much legal binding and provides a summary of what his actual contract is. I just don't know. See, the promoter again, MoNique in her very own caption is stating that the promoter is opening theirself up for more legal ramifications. So if that is the person who has the legal ramifications, right, and not DL Hughley, why are you not airing them promoters out in the same raunchy way that you are airing DL Hughley out in? Reason why is because, listen, quite a few of us Black people feel like, listen, DL Hughley already ain't shit. Some people already have a percentage of that inkling in their mind already. That consensus has already been laid down based off of his past character. And so that naturally swung a lot of the vote. A lot of the people, I remember the initial reaction, oh, DL Hughley already ain't ish. But he pops out with his receipts and she pops out with her receipts. And here we are still in the midst of this confusing situation. It very much is. Listen, if you ain't already hit thumbs up on this video, I don't know what you're waiting for, but hit that thumbs up button. Let's go back and look, because DL Hughley made another post. Okay. He made another post. He's zooming in on her contract. And as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and take a look at this first. Hold up. He posts in his Instagram stories, when we zoom in, he says, what a difference a day makes, right? This is DL Hughley's official Instagram. Now you can see, like I showed you earlier, his contract says March 29th. MoNique's contract says March 28th, which is the reason why he captioned his, what a difference a day makes. He says, I know exactly what a real contract looks like. Mine was fulfilled Saturday night. How about yours? And this is why I'm like, oh my God. So hers, again, it says March 28th, while his says March 29th. And again, when we go back to the logistics and the specifics of his contract, again, it lists him as the headliner of the show. We zoom in and it says that he has 100% of the headline. Okay. He is the artist to be paid the highest on the show, and that he was supposed to close as well. So we go in to look at what he has to say about her contract, and he's zooming in on how it says, it's not me zooming in, that's literally him. It's the video. It says Hicks Media, the name of her business. And here's what his caption says. It says, man, Hicks Media Incorporated. Hold up. That's you. You really showing everyone a contract you submitted from your own company. I smell bullshit, and I wouldn't pick it up with the old ass birth certificate paper. It was written on. Stop the cap. Again, my contract says I'm the headliner. I'm the highest paid artist on the show. I'm the artist to have approval of the lineup. Lineup of the show I provided as well. DL Hughley is closing. Now explain to me how my shit was delivered on and yours wasn't. Sounds to me like your problem is with Hicks Media Incorporated. Can we please implement the 3 knockdown rule? Whew. Whew. Yeah. Why wasn't her contract? Why isn't her contract fulfilled as well? Listen, I have to go to the bush. I have to.
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
Look, really interesting comments. Hold on, I seen one about Ricky Smiley. Tawanda said, boom. Nosy host Scooby Van said, child, MoNique needs to take that contract and eat it. She shouldn't have issues. Cher says, Ricky Smiley lied on his live and said, what does it matter who goes first? They all get the same pay. Ricky Smiley, being somebody that is a part-time comedian himself, he should know better. It definitely matters who goes first or last. That is the politics of comedy, period, point blank. If there's a show and you're the headliner of the show, going last is that ultimate seniority type of I'm the better, I'm the heavyweight. That's the politics of it. Ricky Smiley sounds, based on what you're saying, right? Because I haven't heard what you're saying, but based off this comment, if it went the way you said, that sounds very ignorant to me. Very, very ignorant. Ricky Smiley should know better because he does comedy in his spare time as well. And that's a Baltimore nigga too. So but like I said, these were people who were fed conflicting contracts. Who should they really be mad at? Because the common denominator is the promoter. That's the common denominator here. Okay. Again, MoNique was fed information and a whole schedule, a contract that she says she has, right? That said that she was closing. DL Hughley was fed this that said he was closing. So who's really to blame here? Y'all was set up. And that's my thought. Y'all was set up because it's predictable that MoNique's going to go off on him before they go off on me. See, when we get into MoNique's contract, right? And listen, here's the thing. Here's my thing I'm going to call out about DL Hughley too, right? Make this bigger. DL Hughley says, man, so they're talking about the letterhead that is on, which is Hicks Media. Hicks Media, hold up. That's you. You're showing everyone a contract. You submitted from your own company. However, when we take a look, we can see DL Hughley's company is listed on his too, right? And I just want to show you some basic trademarking information. We got DL Hughley and the loan out / producer, 5 Tims Productions Incorporated. Do you know who 5 Tims Incorporated, 5 Tim Productions Incorporated is? Because it's DL Hughley. We get into this trademark information, the trademark details. And this is his company. Okay. So this is the person who owns 5Tim's trademark company. Entertainment services, personal appearances, so on and so forth, right? So this, he's got some stuff in his name. However, the letterhead of DL Hughley's contract is UTA, which is a talent agency. So this is something that's actually done through a talent agency rather than his own company. I see someone saying Sydney hyped her up. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree that Sydney hyped her up. Okay. So I feel like, listen, Daddy's got to go. I'm not saying Daddy, you know what I'm saying? Sydney isn't able to love her and be a husband. And that's the thing. MoNique said in her stand-up, she's like, oh, y'all are jealous that I've got a man that loves me. MoNique, we not jealous that nobody's jealous that you got a man that loves you. Who's jealous of you? It's the fact that we feel like he's the reason for your demise. And you've got people that love you and people who don't even rock with you, who both feel like Sydney is just in the way. Are you going to give the promoter the same smoke? Or do you feel like you can only give that type of smoke to Black people? We talk about, what is it? New Day Era? The New Day Company? Are they Black owned or white owned? Right? Because the last time she went off on some non-Black people, it was Netflix. Other than that, it's been nigga after nigga after nigga after nigga after nigga after nigga. Is she going to give that same raunchy smoke to the promoter that she gave to DL Hughley? Because don't get me wrong, I get it. There's something that is captivating about a Black woman, specifically a Black woman going after sellouts in the Black community. There's something very lucrative about that and very interesting that'll get a lot of us dialed in. However, when you make a habit out of that and then you start being a little sloppy about it and you going after the wrong people and then you're not going to apologize. MoNique's not going to apologize for this. She feels she's 100% right. The same as DL Hughley does. So when you start to build up that pattern of going after people who are doing a disservice to the Black community, where's the disservice in this situation that DL was providing to Black people or the industry, or doing a disservice to us or the comedic world? Where is it? You know what I mean? So sometimes you get a little too caught up. I'm gonna sound off. And sometimes when you sound off, it just may not necessarily be in your best interest, or you might end up looking crazy. So I don't know. I feel like MoNique should slow down with coming after people in this way. I'm not saying slow down with the fight. Oh, no. Keep up the fight. When it comes to your plight and what you, and MoNique is always a victim of something, right? I'm not saying stop fighting, but however, at some point now, it is so easy to trigger MoNique and for promoters to set her up again. Next Black person that she's set to perform alongside, it might be just as easy to get her to go off on them. Why? Because they know she's going to go off on the nigga. Especially if the nigga has done something questionable in the past. But MoNique has done questionable stuff in the past too. We all got a past. We can't just use the past to convict us of the present. If that's the case, the both of them would be crossed out. So, at some point you gotta slow down, and you can't be thinking from that area of hurt or being triggered. And the fact that she literally brought Steve, Oprah, Tyler, and all of them up in this situation is like, baby, this is reminding you of everything you've been through. And I just wonder, is MoNique ever gonna heal? Because I don't want her legacy to be convoluted and mixed in to them. At this point, anytime you think of MoNique, you think about them too. You don't think about MoNique as her own entity anymore. You think about MoNique blended in with Netflix. MoNique blended in with Oprah and Tyler. You think about MoNique and her issues. What do you think about MoNique and her talent? And there's got to be some balance there. You've got to have a team who is willing to even the keel for you. And it's just not happening. And I think that that's really unfortunate. I think she's too talented to go down this way. And, as Black women, it's difficult to get us to back down. It's difficult to get us Black women to back down, especially when we know we're fighting for what's right. However, the fight can't be too predictable. Nobody should know your hand, and nobody should be able to reverse engineer you. But at this point, it's very easy to, reverse engineer or to set MoNique up. If this happens again where she doesn't understand her contract, or her and the talent that she's arguing against, they were both promised the same thing. The promoters know she ain't gonna fuss at me, she gonna fuss at them. Whole time that's a promoter doing you dirty. If the promoter tells me I'm gonna close, and the promoter tells you that you're gonna close, and the promoter tells you you're gonna headline, and the promoter tells me I'm gonna headline too, and we both just trying to get what we asked for, we should be mad at the promoter. But instead, the promoter knows, oh no, MoNique, she's gonna go after she can go after that Black person. She ain't gonna go after us. So let's just go ahead and trend, because this is gonna be drama. We put ourselves in the pressure cooker. This is gonna go viral, because she's gonna get on stage and she's gonna cuss them out. She ain't gonna cuss us out. That's making yourself a little bit too predictable, and you got to be different. It's no different than trying to make sure people don't follow you home, right? You got to take a detour sometimes. You can't be as MoNique is too predictable at this point, which means she's got to find more than one way to fight her battles. And fighting your battles when you're on the heels of being angry and just airing it all out with no tact, it may not be the best for you. Sometimes air it out that way, but also find another way to do it too on the back end. More strategic. There needs to be more strategy with the way that she fights her battles. The promoter made the mistake. Maybe he come out and apologize. I wouldn't understand why the promoter would come out and apologize now. Why would they apologize? They're not getting no heat. They're not getting no heat from them two parties. There are several people on social media that feel like it's the promoter's fault. I felt like this yesterday before we even saw the contracts. I felt like they're both being played because they were both told the same thing. But why would the promoter come out and apologize? They're not getting no pressure put on them. They're not getting dragged out. Their wives, their kids, their sexuality isn't being brought into question. It's only DL Hughley's and all that shit that's being brought into question. So why would the promoter just come out? I guarantee you the promoter sit back laughing their ass off to the bank. This shit went viral on the promoter's watch. And who's going to benefit more from this viral moment? DL Hughley is, because he's more relevant and he has more work right now. Everybody's tuned into the DL Hughley show on the radio right now to see and hear what DL Hughley had to say about this situation. It's no different than Chris Rock being slapped, right? Although he was ultimately humiliated and bitch slapped on TV, his sales still spiked because people wanted to hear what the hell he had to say next. So he financially benefited because he had a project and things already in the works to promote, whereas Will Smith don't. And so with MoNique, don't have anything going on, even on free social media or contracts or whatever's going on. DL Hughley is going to benefit more from this than MoNique ever will, ever. And especially because, again, we can see that they were both promised the same goddamn thing. And that's what's really sad. The talent is fighting one another, and they should be upset with the common denominator, which is the promoter. Which is the promoter. You know? So maybe the promoter didn't think both MoNique and DL Hughley would be available for the show. They just needed a big name headliner. Yeah, but they advertised this for months. For months. She should have dragged the promoters, but she didn't. Fact check. You know, the thing about the promoters as well, Aaliyah TV, is, again, there was a 1 day difference between March 28th and March 29th. Where they both had, their different contracts, look totally different and everything. But, you're talking about from March until now, May 28th. It was the day of the show. Let's make this a little bigger. Was it May 28th, I do believe it was. They could have canceled before. Instead, they fed MoNique one thing and fed this person another. So you got to ask yourself, there's no way that they thought that only one person would show up. If they delivered MoNique, and you can see it's the same exact format. It's not like, oh, y'all dealt with two different people. Y'all know sometimes concerts, you know, you got people who are just raunchy, dirty, and just janky promoters who are impersonating a company or an artist. This is clearly done by the same exact company. They were fed the same lie, or the same. Well, DL Hughley wasn't fed a lie because he actually closed. But listen, this is the truth right here. And when both of them hit the building, somebody should have said to the other person, listen, this isn't. And you know, MoNique was told one thing, but at this point, it's a breach of contract. They had an agreement with MoNique. So look, this is really interesting. It is really interesting. Who knows if MoNique is going to respond any further as it regards this situation. I'm really, really curious to know how this is going to play out. I know for a fact that MoNique is not going to back down from this. She's not going to back down. She's not going to apologize. She dug the hole too deep. Now it'd be different if you start things off like, listen, I don't F with you. You did me wrong and da-da-da. But as fiery as she went about it to talk, you called him a bitch nigga, a coward, this, that, and the third. For you to run that back and apologize. First of all, when have we ever seen MoNique apologize about anything? But also, when have we ever seen DL Hughley apologize about anything? These are two people that, based off of their track record and the patterns on social media, when they go up against people and when they think that they're right, and both of them have legal binding documents, okay, that prove that they would promise one thing. These two people are not going to apologize. Will they reach an amicable situation? We don't know. DL Hughley has said from his very first response, your issue needs to be with management or the promoter. And instead, she keeps coming at him and coming at him and coming at him and coming at him, while only having one short sentence in her comeback that says, well, the promoter is putting themselves at risk for more legal action, as in there's already legal action in the works. But it's like, that's just a diplomatic sentence. Why aren't you coming at them full-fledged with the smoke? Is it because it's not as lucrative? Is it because you feel like DL Hughley can't blackball you, but that company can? Why are you being so diplomatic with the promoter while wilding out, literally, right? Talk about comedy, wilding out, pun intended, with DL Hughley, and you're not wilding out on that promoter the same way? There's a little bit of something that kind of doesn't seem fair there, because the both of you got played. The both of y'all sitting up here fighting about something that's truly not the talent's fault. It's the back end management and promotion's fault. That's who's really at fault here. But the both of y'all is sitting up here fighting. And listen, here's one thing that I also want to bring up as an issue. MoNique started all this. She did. She went on stage and she started all this. Hold on, let me go here then. She went ahead and she started all this, right? And people felt like, oh, okay, Mo, stand your ground, do whatever. DL Hughley gets to respond, and DL Hughley gets to post in his, paperwork, right? And people, oh my gosh, y'all need to drop this. Just drop it and forget about it and move on. And I feel like that's not fair. Don't get me wrong. It's a little heartbreaking / gut-wrenching to see two Black folk, especially of the opposite sex. We have way too much of a gender war going on right now. Okay. Kevin Samuels, everything else, the manosphere. It's disgusting how many Black women and Black men are going back and forth. So, that's bad enough. However, MoNique started all this, from calling him a bitch to a coward, saying he take dick in the butt, saying, bringing his wife and his kids into it. But he gets to post in his contract, and people all of a sudden say he's doing too much. He's doing too much. He ain't had to do all. He has the right to respond when his kids, his wife, his asshole gets dragged into this, he has a right to provide and to respond his legal. So I just don't respect the fact that people feel like that people feel like he doesn't have the right to respond, but MoNique has the right to completely go off about the situation. That doesn't make any sense to me. And it seems to be a little unfair. How dare you say that somebody can respond and disrespect me repeatedly, and I don't have the right to respond over and over again? That doesn't make sense. It absolutely doesn't make sense to me. If somebody can help me understand, I'm just looking through the comment section and it's it's like, how was he doing too much by responding to all of that stuff? How? Astute Queen B, I see the DM you sent me. Thank you so much. I saw that too, because I saw Funky Deneva had made a post and he deleted it once he saw the letterhead that MoNique's contract was on. But my thing is like, look, he has a right to respond. She done called him out in every disrespectful, literally belittled him. And if you want to talk about emasculating, right? I know Will Smith in the slap, everybody, emasculation was the word. That was some real emasculation that was done there. He had the right to respond, and he didn't even call her out of her name. He didn't. But in a comedic fashion, he responded. He did. So, look, I feel like he had every right to respond. MoNique seems to, have a pattern and only one way that she goes about resolving conflicts behind the scenes. And, it hurts me with wanting to see her succeed. I can't even say I wish she would do it different, because ultimately she's going to handle her issues in her own way. However, is she ready to handle all that comes with consistently handling her issues in this way? Is she okay with not getting as many offers? Because whenever her contracts aren't fulfilled, whenever her husband isn't able to get her what her contracts are always being breached, or there's something surrounding her contract that she feels is not fair to her, then she goes out in public and feeds it to the public for the public's consumption. And some of that just, it doesn't make sense to me why she won't just get new management. And that's just me. I want better. I want better for her in the trajectory of her career. I want her in big, awesome roles again. She's so fucking talented. Like I said, I saw her last year. I saw MoNique last year. Towards the end of the year, she had me laughing my ass. I'm serious. She's funny as hell. Funny as hell. So, this is overshadowing it. And the fact that her or her team isn't able to create the balance, I feel like that is kind of crippling to where she's going to go in her career in general. So listen. This was a heavy discussion. There was a lot that we needed to unpack with regards to this situation. The show isn't over yet, okay? So if you haven't hit thumbs up, do me a favor. It's free, okay? You can donate to the show, which means you ain't got to spend money. You can send a cash app. You can send a super chat. You can join the membership, or whatever the case is, or a super thanks. Or you could just simply hit thumbs up. It's free to donate, okay? So the show's not over, okay? Y'all know I'm big on Black history. This is one of the Black news buses that is about one thing, but Black history is something that is near and dear to my heart, and there's not enough of that. And Black history is so much more than February. It's so much more than a month. So what I'm going to do, because I know it's 2:00 in the morning, ain't nobody calling in. All y'all laid in bed, and that's cool. That's cool. We might do a show tomorrow. We'll see if the story continues to update. We'll see if MoNique responds to DL Hughley and what he had to say about it, since technically he has had the last say in this situation. However, when we talk about Memorial Day, since that is the holiday we're coming up off of, I bet you don't understand, or I bet you may not know how involved Black people were in the creation of this holiday. So let's get into a little Black history. Hit that thumbs up button. Give me some pancakes in the chat, and let's continue to wrap this show up. Okay?
Now let's spend a little bit of time with our ancestors, or at least listening to them, because you know they always tell us you don't know where you're going unless you know where you came from. So let's get into a little bit of Black history with this Black History moment.
They got me in the system. Why they gotta do me like that?
I know I can be what I wanna be what I wanna be.
We've got love for y'all, which I don't know.
About the feeling.
Get down.
So let's talk about a little bit of Black history really quickly. When we talk about the origin of Memorial Day, right? The origin of Memorial Day, it traces back to 1865 when freed slaves, matter of fact, let me put the picture on the screen, right? The origin of Memorial Day traces back to 1865 when freed slaves started a tradition to honor fallen Union soldiers and to celebrate the emancipation and commemorate those who died for that cause. In 1865, Black people in Charleston, South Carolina, they held a series of memorials and rituals to honor unnamed fallen Union soldiers and celebrate the struggle against slavery. One of the largest memorials took place on May 1st, 1865. Let me bring another picture on the screen just so that you're able to see and I'm able to illustrate, okay, this for y'all. Okay. Y'all know I'm a Black history buff, and if you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. And Memorial Day has been severely whitewashed, and I think it's important to clear that up. There's a lot of Black history that they ain't teaching in schools. There's a lot of Black history that just is not being taught there. And if your ancestors ain't teaching it to you, if we aren't keeping these stories alive, they're going to die out. And so that's why I do all I can do to keep them relevant by attaching them to trending topics and what's going on. I get it. History can be corny, but when it comes to us surviving and understanding how imperative we are to the history of this country and how resilient we are and how brilliant we are as a people, that shit is important. It really is. So to continue, as the Civil War ended, Confederates had converted the city's Washington Race Course and Jockey Club into an outdoor prison. Union captives were kept in horrid conditions, and at least 257 of them died of disease and were quickly buried in a mass grave behind the grandstand. After the Confederate evacuation of Charleston, Black women went to the mass grave site. They reburied the Union dead properly and built a high fence around the cemetery. This is something that y'all really need to see, okay? Let's go ahead and get this. This is an image of the newspaper from in this time in history that I am depicting to y'all, okay? So take a look at this while I get into the rest of this history. So they whitewashed the fence and built an archway over an entrance on which they inscribed the words "Martyrs of the Race Course." So the freed Black people who then, in cooperation with white missionaries and teachers, they staged a parade of 10,000 on the track. And the procession was led by 3,000 Black school children carrying armloads of roses, singing the Union marching song, John Brown's body. So there were several hundreds of Black women who followed with baskets of flowers, wreaths, and crosses. Then came Black men marching in, followed by contingents of Union men. Now, within the cemetery, Black children's choir sang before a series of Black ministers from the Bible. So listen, there is a deep history that we have as Black people when it comes to Memorial Day. Okay. So several hundreds of Black women followed with baskets of flowers, wreaths, crosses, boom. After the dedication, the crowd dispersed into the infield and did what many of us do on Memorial Day, which is enjoy picnics, listen to speeches, and watched soldiers drill. So there was a lot. There was a lot that we had to do with the creation of what we know modern day Memorial Day to be. And you wouldn't know if there was nobody keeping these stories alive. So you can see the picture here on the screen, and y'all know Black history is just my thing. Okay. Okay. We still talking about MoNique now. They said she's obviously a difficult person to work with. She's making herself look bad at this point. Listen, I appreciate y'all talking about the question of the night, which is MoNique blackballing herself? Is she the problem? Is DL Hughley wrong, or is MoNique wrong? Astute Queevy says, I stopped celebrating these holidays over the past few years. A lot of people don't know the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. And it's very simple. When you think about what a veteran is, you initially you think about a veteran as someone who has served, but you don't initially think of them as dead, right? And you think about what memorial means, you think about memorialize. And when you are memorializing someone, it means that they've already transcended, right? So Memorial Day is more about fallen previous soldiers, while Veterans Day is about appreciating people who was here. However, sometimes they are used interchangeably. It doesn't mean that on Veterans Day you can't honor someone who isn't here already. However, that is the preliminary difference between the two different holidays. However, it is very interesting to understand how the holiday started based off of us. Again, we get back to the origin of Memorial Day traces back to 1865 when freed slaves started a tradition. We started Memorial Day to honor fallen Union soldiers, to celebrate the emancipation and commemorate those who died for the cause of our emancipation, of our freedom. It became whitewashed throughout the years into just serving the goddamn country. Whereas though it goes back to 1865 and we were more so celebrating as Black and brown people who fought for our freedom, right? So keep things like that in mind. Those are great cookout, those are great cookout stories and conversations to be had. We know Juneteenth has became and started to be whitewashed as well, as we see non-Black people trademarking Juneteenth. We've got Walmart that released their ice cream, although they quickly snatched it off the shelf and they stole that flavor from a fellow Black woman. And then we see white-owned companies who are selling memorabilia. There's a lot of whitewashing going on. And I think that these conversations are extremely important as it pertains to our history and knowing where we're going based off of really having a keen understanding on where we came from. Okay, so listen, shout out to Black History. I did my thing working on editing this Black History clip. Let me know how y'all feel about it. Okay.
Now let's spend a little bit of time with our ancestors, or at least listening to them, because they always tell us you don't know where you're going unless you know where you came from. So let's get into a little bit of Black history with this Black History moment.
They got me in the system. Why they gotta do me like that?
I know I can be what I wanna be what I wanna be.
We've got love for y'all, which I don't know.
All right, and that's the Black History moment. I want to highlight this comment from my channel member, Is Hawk's baby girl. She says, no matter where you land on this, a signed performance contract trumps an unsigned deal memo in every court. Y'all have a wonderful night. Hey, listen, I respect it. I respect it. And listen, I totally respect Is Hawk's baby girl's opinion because of her degree, okay, and her background. Y'all remember I gave a congratulations to a channel member. I think it was like last week, right, for graduation. So she does have a degree in this area. So listen, I totally respect her opinion, and I appreciate her being a channel member and weighing in. And y'all know we not always gonna agree on everything. But I respect it. I respected a respectful difference of opinion. And this is exactly what a respectful difference of opinion looks like. So even if you don't agree with me, listen, I tell y'all to think critically and independently all the time. And I'm not just saying that just to say it. Think independently. Think for yourself. It's important. Don't just accept, you know what I'm saying, like my way of thinking. Think for yourself. I respect an independent and critical thought process. It means a lot. There are way too many sheeple in this day and age. So shout out to everybody that showed up to the show. Okay. Due to the fact that this has been a long show, I gave y'all a little bit of Black history, and thank you for the people who like who like the Black history clip. I appreciate y'all. Like I've been meaning to do that clip for the longest time so that I can really permanently start to incorporate Black history into each and every show that I do. So I'm just glad that I was able to get that clip edited and move on with what I needed to do. It's been like 3 weeks I've been wanting to get that done. So thank y'all. I won't give y'all a sticky note. The show has been long enough. It's been almost an hour and 45 minutes. It's time to go. It's 7 minutes after 2 a.m. over here in Baltimore. Baltimore, stand up. Y'all know we had a long weekend over here in Baltimore because what? Javante Davis beat somebody. Javante Davis won the fight. Okay. So we've been busy with all of our regular holiday festivities, our celebratory festivities as we celebrate the winner. And I'm like, listen, I also got to keep it a buck too. Okay. Okay. Javante, you can be men's ass and women's ass too. Oh, okay. All right. That's real nice because I ain't forget that you put your hands on women too. All right. I ain't forgot about you, Javante. However, it's a win over here in Baltimore. And let me tell you, everybody has been going nuts because that knockout, that KO, that KO was a trip. Put that man to sleep. You hear me? I hope that man ain't going online anytime this week because it's going to be a little difficult for him. Okay. Shout out to Musketeer for rejoining the channel. I know Musketeer was a channel member already. Oh, okay. Musketeer upgraded to Supreme. Okay, cool. So yeah, shout out to all of y'all in the chat. There are, you know what I'm saying? Well over 100 of us around 2 a.m. Shout out to y'all. Listen, if you're stuck woke after this video goes off, watch some of the old videos. Any video that y'all see on this channel that has less than 1,000 views, go ahead and play that damn video, okay? And let it play while you sleep tonight. I need to get these numbers up. I went into deep self-care mode, okay, this weekend, and y'all know I really needed it. I received a concerning message sometime last week about how one person perceived my health, right? And I'm not saying it's true or it's not true, but I can acknowledge that I overwork myself sometimes between my full-time job, my family, what we are healing and working through, and what sickness we're trying to remove from my household, right? Channel members already know what it is. So we did a members only live this weekend. For my channel members, I want to say we do have a new series coming backstage, and it is going to be backstage only. It might be a beta idea for the podcast, but it is going to be backstage only. So to all my channel members, y'all have something really special coming for y'all backstage as it pertains to content creators, right? And special guests. So look forward to that. If you are already a channel member or considering joining the channel membership, it's only $199. Another thing that I want to remind y'all of before we go, Sunday, this coming Sunday, right, at 12 noon, we're having our LGBTQ panel. And I need to get this flyer done. Hopefully I can get this flyer done tomorrow or technically today. where we are discussing the untouched and undiscussed patterns in the community, right? In the LGBT community and issues under the flag. And no, I'm not a part of the LGBT community, but it is something that I feel like needs to be tackled because there are way too many children who are being groomed and the prey of predators who are using the LGBTQ flag as a shield. And it's a problem for me. It's a problem for these kids. I told y'all about a story a while ago where a teacher at a high school created an LGBTQ after school club where they basically created a strip club where the students could perform in stripper outfits and students could show up and tip them. And although it was LGBTQ based and it was a drag show, it was still very much a strip club, right? Ass cheeks, bikinis, all that. And come to find out, the teacher then just got arrested for having sex with one of the kids. And there are so many different examples of the problems underneath the flags. And it's really unfair because I have a lot of folks who I'm friends with, who I'm close to in the LGBT community. And it's not fair because I know that that is not their intention, right? These people who are using their label, they're using their identity, they're using their flag to associate and identify because people are apprehensive to ask questions to the LGBT community because they're a protected class, because they don't want to be considered phobic in any instance. But these children are in danger and they're being preyed upon. There's so many LGBTQ literatures and books and practices and beliefs being pushed and indoctrinated into these schools. I'm hearing that allegedly Joe Biden is thinking about taking away free school lunches if boys aren't allowed in the girls' bathroom based off of their pronoun that they choose for the week or whatever the case is. There are a lot of problems, and I feel like there's not enough of a discussion taking place about it. And so for that reason, I want to create a panel and a space for people who are a part of the community to voice their opinion about what can be done, why is this happening, and what sorts of solutions we can put in place to make these predators feel uncomfortable. I've covered so many stories. I won't get into all of them because they're super heavy and it's not necessarily on topic with this, but there are so many issues with regards to that taking place up underneath of that flag, okay? So that is happening this Sunday, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Y'all know I'm over here in Baltimore. But look, be sure to tag me in all of your favorite trending topics on Instagram and on Twitter. I can't wait to hear from y'all down below. Make sure y'all keep it sticky and real. If you're on the bus, it means you caught the live stream. If you're chasing the bus, it means that you're watching the replay. Either one is cool, but make sure you pay your fare and you hit thumbs up. Nonetheless, thank you for watching. Thank you so much for checking out the community tab, okay? Don't forget to do something to relax today and to set the tone for your week in a way that benefits you and gives you the most peace and sanity. Let me know your thoughts on all things that we discussed in this video, obviously as it pertains to MoNique DL Hughley, who was really rightfully able to headline, who actually deserves, or who's right? Are you team DL Hughley? Are you team MoNique was right? Any and all thoughts, I want to hear from you down below in the comments. But listen, I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here, okay? If you have not already hit that subscribe button, listen, hit the damn subscribe button, okay? It's free. And make sure you thumbs up or down. Either way, I appreciate it. But be sure to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of this celebrity or trending syrup because, you know, things are always sticky in Hollywood and in real life. Don't forget to drop one of them pancakes down below in the comment section, and y'all stay beautiful, black, and blessed until the next video. Hey, the Tea Lounge, make sure you catch the replay because I'm on my way out of here. Y'all have an amazing night. Y'all have an amazing evening, and maybe I'll talk to y'all later on today live. It's already Tuesday morning, so maybe I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great day today. Deuces.
On your wrist, MoNique.
But that's it. If you want to catch more of my commentary on Black culture or vital and trending information, be sure to subscribe by hitting that little circle in the middle of the screen, or I'll catch you in one of these rectangles to the right in another video. I'll see you there.